While I have lots of exciting Tesla videos that I want to make, Lockdown 3 has put a hamper on all of those plans. So instead, I'm going to talk about the most exciting Tesla topic of all, build quality. Woohoo! But to be honest, I get it. There's this reputation that Tesla has of being a bit shoddy, to say the least. So in this video, I'm going to go over everything that I noticed when picking up my 2021 Tesla Model 3, the things that have broken in the last 1,500 miles, and what Tesla has told me they're going to do about all the different problems that I've had, and which bits are being fixed and which bits aren't being fixed. And just a preface for all you Tesla fanboys, you don't even seem to understand how your Tesla car works. Why make this horrible video on Tesla? Have you recently lost a lot of money by short-selling Tesla stock? This isn't me bashing on Tesla. I love my car, but for a car that costs almost £50,000, there's still a way for them to go to make the experience that little bit better. All right, let's get into it.
So firstly, we'll look at the outside of the car and at the paint and badges, and I bring you round to the bonnet at the front. And on the Tesla badge on the bonnet, as you can see, the chrome has been chipped. Me and Ellen noticed this while picking up the car on the delivery day. And yes, it is incredibly minor. It is still frustrating on a £50,000 car that the little chrome badge has been dented. And then secondly, at the front of the car as well, there's a little paint chip right in the corner, which to be honest is very frustrating because it's on the corner, it's almost more visible. Like this car had like 3 miles on it coming from the factory, yet somehow the paint got chipped on the front.
And yet I've done over 1,500 miles since owning the car, and it's completely spotless on the front. The only damage to it is that came from the factory.
Continuing on the theme of the bodywork of the car, panel gaps, which is a very, very common question with Teslas. And I have to be honest, compared to some pictures that I've seen of Tesla Model 3s, I think mine is pretty good, but there are still a few places where the gaps are bigger than normal, but it's your own judgment. So on the driver's side door, as you can see here, this gap is kind of nice and smooth, but when it gets up to here, you can fit like a whole like... I feel like that kind of shows how bad the problem actually is. It's not great. This is nice, you know, for the most part, I think it's fine. That one's really bad. Let's keep going around the car. Let's see if there's any other panel gaps we can see. These doors, you regularly have issues where they don't line up, but on my car, they've been perfect, absolutely flawless. And then all the way to the back as well. This gap all the way down here is fine. It's a nice size. And then on the boot as well, I've seen some cars with the new powered trunks where this is almost lifted up like a huge amount. But here, I don't think it's too bad. At the end of the day, panel gaps are very subjective. If they frustrate you, to be honest, I don't really care. I mean, now I'm looking at it, maybe it is going to frustrate me. I don't think it's too bad though. Subjective. I mean, the main ones, which are the doors not lining up here and around here, are fine. This is pretty big as well, actually, now I look at it. Yeah, it doesn't bother me, like day to day. I don't really care about panel gaps, but maybe it will bother you more, especially on a car that costs this much. Something I noticed this morning when I was washing the car is in the rear tail lights, there's condensation forming, there's bubbles forming right in there, as you can see. I can't wipe it off because it's inside and it's on both sides. If we go around to the other side as well, bring it round, the condensation's actually on the tailgate side and also all the way around here. Now, this is a common issue that's been reported on 2020 Tesla Model 3s, and I thought I'd been lucky because this hasn't happened until today, and I thought I'd got away with it. But clearly it's a problem that affects the 2021 Tesla Model 3s as well. This just never happened on my older car. I don't think I've ever seen it happen on another car before, except maybe like a Land Rover that's been abandoned in a field.
However, a day later, filming all the B-roll for this video, the condensation's completely cleared up. As you can see, it's not there anymore, so...
I've mentioned this one before, but in the rear passenger footwell, or the door seal on the car, there is a little rock dent. If we bring it down here, it is very hard to see on camera, but hopefully I can show it to you. There is a little dent right here in the paint. Now, with it being a white car, it's very easy to hide it, to be honest, but hopefully you can see it right there. To be honest, it's like a rock like this. It got stuck in the door, in my opinion, and then they slammed it closed and it put that little dent there. Coming to the inside, in the rear seats, in the passenger seat, the same place where that door ding is, funnily enough, You can see up here that the white leather has been marked in a little bit of a weird yellow color. It's right along here, and then there are several lines here, here, and then they go around the back of the headrest as well. I think it's really quite obvious if you're looking at it, and on the white seats, it's even more obvious because, you know, white shows all kinds of dirt.
And something else to mention while we're in that area of the car is the window trim isn't correctly fitted. I've tried pushing it back in myself, but there's absolutely no hope in hell of me doing it without cracking or bending off the plastic trim there. I also know that Jack Massey Welsh, when he picked up his new Tesla as well, it had the exact same issue, and the service center tried powering him off. I'm going to mention it when I'm next there, but it just looks a bit shoddy the way it's all bunched up compared to the other side, which is completely perfect.
Now we've covered the outside, the inside. The final thing that has frustrated me and gone wrong is the software. So many times in the last month and a half of ownership have I got into the car and it has crashed, or it just completely loses LTE or internet signal. I can't use the app to access the car or anything. I have to physically go outside, like get into the car, see that it's crashed and reset it to actually, you know, use it and reconnect it. It's incredibly frustrating that this happens so often. Just yesterday, I got in the car to go to Tesco's and I just got into a blank screen. And when you get into the car when it's crashed, like the steering wheel doesn't do this, the fancy pantsy moving thing. So I was driving like this because my steering wheel was so far back and my seat was so far back because of the easy entry that the Tesla has. At the same time, the dash cam has also stopped working at points and Sentry Mode has stopped working at points. Though I have to be honest, those two have got a lot better. My biggest gripe is just the car crashing and losing internet connection more often than not.
So that covers pretty much everything, but what happened next? Tesla lets you book all the issues that you have with your car through that app, which is incredibly convenient to say the least. And I did that the evening after picking up the car. And then the next day I got a phone call and I was just told to bring it in as they had a free appointment that afternoon and they wanted to look over it. And I asked them about almost all the issues and how they were going to fix each of them. So starting off, I asked about the paint chip on the bonnet and they said that they could attempt to do a better job of touching it up, but they didn't offer a full respray at all. And secondly, I showed them the dent in the rear door sill. This time they were very apologetic and they offered me the option of sending the car to a body shop for 1 to 2 weeks for them to sand down, reprime, spray and fill that area of the car. But as this was the second day, or barely even the second day of owning the car, I really didn't want to send it away for 2 weeks to be worked on a body shop. You're not going to see it unless you're super picky, and to be honest, I could just buy a rear door sill scuff plate, but having extensive bodywork done on the actual frame of the car is just more trouble than it's worth, honestly, for me. Next up was the rear seat, and it turns out the marks that I originally thought were tears in the leather were actually just errors where the vegan leather had been dyed incorrectly. I was promised by the worker who looked at it that they'd order a replacement and get in contact with me sometime in January to book an appointment and get it fixed. But it's almost the end of January and I've still not heard anything, so I'll make sure to report back on this when it gets done. And finally, while I was there, I also mentioned the software issues that I was having because they happened during the first and second day of ownership. The employee who was looking at my car forced through the latest update to it, which I think helped a little bit, but this problem still persists. So I'm hoping when I bring it in for the rear seat replacement, they can diagnose, plug into the computer and work out if an antenna needs to be replaced or maybe the SIM card's faulty or something like that. And at the same time, I'll also mention the rear passenger windowsill. And regarding the water inside the taillights, considering it's now gone, I don't think I could bring it up. But if it becomes a consistent problem or it stays there all the time, whenever this appointment is going to be to fix the rear seat, I will mention it then and see if they can do anything about it. But while I've had all those problems with my Tesla, I have to be honest, I really love the car. The issues are all very minor, but they're just still frustrating that they happened on such an expensive car. But it shouldn't put you off buying a Tesla Model 3. And compared to where they were a year or 2 years ago, they are substantially better from what I've seen. There used to be so many videos talking about huge panel gaps and damage to the cars, but I've not had any of that. And speaking of, if you haven't ordered your Tesla just yet, make sure to use a referral code. Mine's linked down in the description. Support a small YouTuber. Click it, order your Tesla through it, and you get 1,000 free supercharger miles. There's absolutely no reason not to. It's basically 100 quid's worth of free charging. Take it. Use it. Why would you not? But if you already have your 2021 Tesla Model 3, make sure to hit subscribe and tell me down in the comments below if you had any issues. I'm curious to see if I was lucky or perhaps unlucky. Anyways, I'll see you in the next one.